But that now has made room for the great Jimmer Fredette, who joins us as the Cougars and Dukes are about to tip off in the NCAA tournament. Jimmer, it doesn't feel like that long ago. Hard to believe it's been 13 years since you were doing this as a senior at BYU. But how did you handle the nerves, not just your senior year, but your junior year of playing in such a high-pressure game and tournament like this?
Man, I'm going to get to that question here in a second, but the first thing I got to do is I got to bring in these two little ones. We got the Cougs all over here. We are not biased at all at this household. I'm just telling you that right now. Oh, Wessels. So that's great. All right, let's go enjoy the game, okay? See you guys.
Hey, the kids are involved. Let's go.
The kids are involved. They're ready to go. But for real, this is just a crazy time period at this point. You're thinking about everything that's going on and all the emotions that are going into this, and exactly the game plan, and you know that it's mega hyped at this point. And even your practices, the open practices that you've had to this point have been, with 10,000 people in the stands or however many people there are watching. So you just know the media hype is just elevated, and you're just preparing all season to be able to play this game. So the emotions are high. It's super exciting, but at the same time, you got to focus in and start taking care of business.
What makes you think that BYU can handle this moment? Because they haven't won a tournament game in 12 years, almost since your time. So what makes you feel confident that they can do it this go around?
I think the biggest thing is they have a lot of veteran guys that have played in big games before and are prime in position to be able to make a run. If you look at great tournament teams, generally speaking, you have veteran players that are on the team that are a little bit older, that have been through the ringer, that have started as a freshman and then kind of built their way up and now are seniors and are able to go out there and just seize that moment. They know it's their last chance, right? So because of that, they play with that effort and that energy. And we have several guys on our team that are older and ready for this moment. And obviously for us, if we get hot and we can shoot threes, even if we make them at a 32% clip, like we've talked about a lot, they can win basketball games, and they know that. So just getting them up, making sure they're taking good shots, being poised, and I think they can be primed to make a little run here.
All right, Jimmer, we have often focused on guys that are going to have a big impact in this game. And you just pointed out BYU's been so balanced this year. It feels like somebody different in every game is coming up with the big shot or big plays or turns it on. So who's your Y factor as the game tips off from Omaha right now?
For me, it's going to be Richie Saunders. I think his energy is so critical, especially in games like this. If there's any type of flat start, I mean, when you start the game, you have so much adrenaline, right? Like you get up for this game and then all of a sudden you play, and then the first 2 minutes, all of the starters are gassed. It's just the way it works, right? Until they get that second wind. So they need a guy to come off of the bench with energy. And that's what Richie can provide. He needs to be able to get there, get some loose ball, get some offensive rebounds, get some extra possessions for us, get a couple of steals, easy baskets, and then be able to hit his open threes. And if he's hitting his open threes, we are extremely tough, because that's a guy that, is kind of not necessarily the focal point of the offense, but when he's hitting shots and bringing that energy, it gets everybody else up. So I'm looking for him to have a great game, and he's my Y factor for this one.
All right, Jimmer, the Atlantic 10 tournament champions have opened the game, knocking down their first three. In fact, it's now a 5-0 lead. I know that things can get out of hand mentally in a hurry, but you pointed out you feel like this BYU team is mentally tough. So how do you handle the nerves when things aren't going well early on in this game and calm down? What is your advice to the team if you were in the huddle with them to help them calm down and kind of like not let this thing get out of hand?
Yeah, for sure. You just got to stay the course, right? And I think you see this in the NCAA tournament a lot. Even with the first 4 games that have been played, you've seen teams that have been down by a lot, double digits, and have come back and either win or come close or tie the game. So you just have to continue to stay the course and understand that teams are going to go on runs. Sometimes in the beginning of the game, it's kind of that false confidence of feeling like you have a really big lead. And then once that other team settles in, it usually comes back to the mean. So that's just kind of how it works. You just have to make sure, continue to stay the course, play your game plan, continue to be poised. You don't just have to jack up a bunch of really bad shots and let that lead continue to grow, right? It's about just getting good shots, scoring, and knowing that your defense is going to take care of business. They're going to miss shots. You're going to get out in transition. You're going to do what you do, but it's about weathering that storm and understanding it. And that's where the leadership comes in, as having older players. And I think that's what BYU would do.
Now, Jimmer, you were part of a team that ended a long losing streak for BYU in the NCAA tournament when you got past Florida in that crazy double overtime thriller. How much were you and the players aware of the fact that BYU hadn't won an NCAA tournament game in a very long time?
Very aware. I mean, I won't lie to you. Like that's something that we wanted to break as a team. Like that was our goal. I went to the NCAA tournament all 4 years that I was there. The first 2 years, we played Texas A&M both times, which was interesting. But we ended up losing close games to both of them. And we just knew we just had an opportunity to win those games. And at some point, we knew we were going to break through. So when we played against Florida, obviously it wasn't easy going into double overtime. But when we got that monkey off our back, it was just an amazing feeling. And then the next year, we used that momentum to kind of understand how to win in the tournament and then be able to, advance to the Sweet 16.
All right, slow start for BYU. It's 5-0 Duquesne. Dallin Hall just got poked in the face during a rebound. I'm not sure if it was a shoulder or an elbow, but he's being attended to. We know what Dallin means to this team, Jimmer, and I feel like because of everything he does to get guys in the right place and get the offense moving, and it's not just on offense. Like he knows where everybody needs to be on defense too. He's in many ways the quarterback of this BYU team. I assume he's going to be okay as Rob Ramos, the trainer, who you know well, is taking care of Dallin. But if Dallin is not able to play, what does that do to BYU?
It changes their whole dynamic, to be honest with you. Usually what happens is Jackson Robinson will be put to the point guard position for a lot of the time. Which he's been doing a fairly good job of this season and short spurts. But then it becomes, all right, if that needs to be more extended, you're going to see some Trey Stewart minutes where he's going to come in, and then how is he going to affect the game? He's going to affect the game on the defensive end, being able to get people involved, offensive rebounds, getting to the basket. So it kind of brings in a different dynamic. Dallin is extremely important to that team, just especially towards the end of the games, to get them into what they need to get into and run that pick and roll with Foose, getting guys open. So hopefully Dallin is okay. I'm sure Rob is doing everything he can to get him back into the game as quickly as he can be, and I'm sure that'll be the case. But yeah, look for Jackson Robinson to be a little bit more aggressive offensively at the point guard position, and then Trey Stewart hopefully being able to create havoc on the defensive end.
Well, taking Dallin into the locker room to look at him, he's got gauze in both nostrils. So knowing Dallin's toughness, I think he's going to be back for sure. Jackson Robinson, by the way, now takes over at the point guard position because BYU's had to deal with this before, Jimmer. So what is the key? Like, what is the key to being like, we're going to be fine? Like, if you're Coach Pope, what are you saying to the team with Dallin Hall in the locker room right now? Like, hey, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, for sure. We've done this before. There's been games where Dallin has been sitting for longer stretches at a time, and our team has been able to continue to use that momentum. It's a different lineup. It's a bigger lineup. It makes it a little bit more switchable lineup. Maybe they throw in their zone, to be able to use that length that they have, where they have three basically wings and two bigs, playing at the same time. So that's going to be something to look forward to, seeing how they can create turnovers, deflections, all those different things. And then on the offensive end, they're going to get into their offense. There's not going to be probably quite as much pick and roll with Jackson at the points, but they're going to get into their offense. They'll throw it into the bigs. They'll do their 5-out offense where they're able to cut to the basket and let Ali kind of use his point guard skills to kind of run the offense on the half court set. So they've done this before. They'll be fine. They'll be able to weather that storm and just kind of run things through Foose, run things through Ali and Jackson, and then everybody else cuts off of it, gets their normal shots, and continues to play good basketball. But I think they'll be just fine.
Well, foul with Ali Khalifa hitting the deck. It's 7-0 Duquesne. Keith Dambrot was LeBron James' high school coach in 9th and 10th grade. He's now retiring. He announced that after the Dukes won the A-10 tournament, went on this magical run to get to their first tournament since 1977. How much of an impact does the win-win for the Gipper mentality have, do you think, for Duquesne?
It matters. I really believe that. A lot of times guys just come out with a little bit more energy. They understand, especially if they respect and love the coach, which it seems like they really do there at Duquesne. Obviously, they've had a great season. This is something that hasn't been the norm necessarily for them. And to win that A-10 tournament was huge for that program. It's awesome to see. They've been on a hot streak recently. They've won a lot of games and obviously won the tournament. So they're coming into this game feeling really confident and feeling really good. And, I think looking at it, Duquesne was probably like, hey, this is a great matchup for us too, as we think that it's a great matchup for Duquesne. I'm sure they're thinking the same thing, right? So they're coming in with confidence, and they want to be able to advance and win in the tournament as well. It's something they haven't done in a long time as well. So it's important for both of these teams, and it's going to be a battle of wills. Like I said, I think it's going to be a close one, and then at the end of the game, it's who executes better.
Some early turnovers for BYU. Now they've gone to Fousseyni Traore, and I feel like this is a guy because Duquesne is a smaller team. In fact, in terms of average height, 284th smallest team in the country, which is well down the list. What kind of an impact do you think Foose could have now that he enters the court for the first time?
You got to get him going right away, specifically when Dallin is out, because that's how they're going to run their offense. You got to run it through Foose at this point. Throw him the ball, steady the ship, let him get a couple of easy baskets, maybe get some fouls, get to the free throw line, slow the game down a little bit. I think that's really important. So it's something that they need to do right away. Try to get Foose in there, get him the ball, get him a touch as soon as he comes into the game to make sure that he's feeling a part of that offense, and then play off of it. Have guys cut, have guys move. Maybe you're going to get a couple open threes off of it. And but for him, it's important to try to go to work and try to score baskets.
Great stuff from Jimmer Fredette thus far. Timeout on the floor. We're going to take a timeout with them, Jimmer. Come back and hang out a little bit more, if you will. Still on the way. More live reaction from the great Jimmer Fredette as BYU tries to put up their first points here against Duquesne. This is BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Kenneth Rooks, what a story!
And we just saw a fall. That was the NCAA champion. Look at this story of Kenneth Rooks, the NCAA champion who fell, who got back up, reattached himself to the pack, and now is running in this and making a run for the championship title, and they are going so fast right now.
From falling to the finish and the national championship, Kenneth Rooks.
Hit the road with the all-new and all-electric Nissan Ariya SUV. Equipped with ProPilot Assist 2.0 that guides you through lane changes and helps you maintain distance between cars. 360-degree traffic monitoring and freeway mapping keeps you centered for smooth and precise driving. ProPilot Assist takes some of the stress out of your commute so you can enjoy the ride. Available at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
Program's a lot of things. It's not just a football team, a win streak machine. It's a family, a brotherhood.
This streak's our legacy. We will never experience anything like this again in our lives.
And that's it! The streak is over!
Don't let a game define who you are. Let the way you live your lives do that.
BYU Sports Nation continues live from Studio B. I'm Spencer Linton. Jimmer Fredette is joining me for this alt-cast as we all watch the first few minutes of this BYU NCAA tournament game with a guy who won multiple games in March Madness. Okay, Jimmer, you and I were just talking during the break about BYU getting punched against Texas Tech early in. The Cougars never really responded. Why do you feel like BYU's they're gonna punch back today against Duquesne?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's their last opportunity, right? This is a do or die situation. It's similar in that in the conference tournament, but the difference is they knew that they were going to go to the NCAA tournament and they knew they were going to play another game. Whereas this one, they are not playing another game if they don't win, obviously. So you don't want that taste in your mouth. They're gonna fight back. I believe they're gonna get it inside. And what I think they need to do is they need to oppose their will. Duquesne's done a good job of being physical, as you pointed out early, but we need to be the more aggressor and get the ball into the post, let Foose, show his will, be able to get some easy baskets, and then use our strength and our length that we have out on the floor right now to really get into guys, make sure they feel our presence, and make sure they're in understanding that this is going to be a fight for the next 35 minutes.
How much do you think things will change once BYU sees a basketball go through the hoop, whether it's a free throw or their first field goal?
It changes everything, right? Like once you get that lid off of the basket, you feel much better. And that's the biggest thing. Once you see one guy hit a shot, then it becomes contagious. Then the next guy will hit a shot, and then it just keeps going from there. So it's super important to get an easy bucket. That's why I think it's important to get it into Foose or get it inside or get a really easy three, maybe get a steal and an easy bucket in transition. So you're trying to get that defense to offense mentality where you're trying to get something easy or getting it into Foose and letting them go to work.
Jackson Robinson has scored BYU's first point from the free throw line. His second is also good. So BYU's on the board. They trail 9-2. Okay, so we'll see if now things change and BYU relaxes a little bit here. Duquesne, it feels like because they have quote unquote nothing to lose, Jimmer, like that will carry you so far. When do you think both teams just kind of like settle into the game and it's not about like emotion? Because it feels like both teams are playing on emotion right now.
Yeah, midway through the first half, you'll see under that, probably that 10-minute mark, once they hit that 8-minute, media timeout for the last 8 minutes of the game, they'll start settling in and playing like normal basketball, the way that both teams have normally played. But right now it's so frantic. Like you said, this is something that is important to both of these programs, and we understand that. So it's just the way it works in the NCAA tournament. That's why when you see veteran teams be able to kind of do that from the get-go, it really helps. But with both of these teams and the inexperience of being in the NCAA tournament, winning games, they're just ready to go and they just want to go out there and win and put their best foot forward. And sometimes that creates, turnovers or bad shots or whatever, things that you may not do normally, but that'll settle in after the 10-minute mark and they'll start playing normal again.
All right, Jimmer, last question for you in the final 30 seconds. The Cougars don't have somebody like you, a guy who just goes and gets a bucket, who hits a big shot in a pressure situation. You think that Richie Saunders is going to be a Y factor. Who's the guy that if it comes down to it, it's going to take and make the big shot for BYU today?
Normally it's Dallin Hall, and I think he would do it as long as he is able to come back into the game. If it's not him, then look for, Jackson Robinson to go to work and be able to score that bucket. But if Dallin Hall comes back into the game, he's the guy that's been shooting a lot of big shots for them. He's made a lot of big shots for them. So I think he's the guy to look for if he can come back in. If not, it's going to be on Jackson's shoulders.
All right, Dallin is back in the game, so it's a good sign for BYU. Hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us for this Altcast, Jimmer. Best of luck to you. Go Cougs. We'll talk again soon.
You're always the best, Spence. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Go Cougs.
You got it. The legend, Jimmer Fredette, with us on BYU Sports.